Hi Dr. Fleck, this is my video submission for video assignment 3 about the strategy of international business, specifically about the case study of IKEA. As always, we have a few questions to answer, the first of which is what type of strategy did IKEA adopt when they began to grow internationally? So in our book, we know that a strategy is actions that managers take to attain the goals of a firm. This means maximizing the value of a firm for both its owners and its shareholders, and we know from previous chapters that this has to be conducted in a legal, ethical, and socially responsible way. For more on this topic, I read a paper titled IKEA's International Expansion, and I learned that IKEA was founded in Sweden in 1943 by a young entrepreneur. This is also briefly mentioned in our textbook, and the entrepreneur, his initials are INK, which are the first two letters of IKEA. So when he started selling pens, watches, and wallets by going door to door to his customers in Sweden. He then began to sell low-priced furniture, but the firms within Sweden got very angry at this and banned local suppliers from providing him with raw materials, and they stopped him from coming to industry exhibitions. So when this happened, IKEA decided that they were going to learn how to design their own furniture, and they began to buy raw materials and supplies from suppliers in Poland, and they also created their own exhibitions. So IKEA began expanding around Europe before it began expanding in other countries, like the United States and China. When they first began to expand internationally, they adopted a global strategy, which the goal of this kind of strategy is to pursue a low-cost strategy on a global scale. And this type of strategy should specifically be pursued when there's high pressures for cost reductions and not pressing pressures for customization, local customization. So when first starting to expand internationally, IKEA was known for its low-cost, good-value furniture, and they were beginning to expand internationally. However, they were not growing outside their own continent, meaning there was no true demand for local responsiveness. So in 2000, as I just said, IKEA started retail operations in China by forming a joint venture. They formed this joint venture because it was a great way to test the market, understand local needs, and adapt its strategies to the needs and wants of the Chinese consumers. So IKEA understood pretty early on that Chinese apartments were very small and customers needed smaller furniture to account for this. So to meet the needs, IKEA decided they were going to make slight modifications to its furniture. They also changed their store layouts in China to mimic the size of a traditional Chinese apartment, and they also included a whole entire section on balconies because balconies were very predominant in China. So when IKEA expanded into China, they transitioned into a transnational strategy. A transnational strategy entails, as we know from our textbook, low cost by also differentiating products due to local differences, which is their whole entire brand. You could see it in every single store in every single country that they are found in. So specifically for China, this was a benefit because the Chinese consumers weren't really used to having things directed directly towards them. They were used to paying higher prices for furniture. So when IKEA came in with their low-cost strategy, Chinese consumers were kind of left dumbfounded. So in order to get around this, because IKEA was seen as this Western aspirational corporation, so when they realized that this is how they were being perceived by the Chinese consumers, they decided to switch their target market to the younger middle class population of China, which this class has more money and they're also more willing to try new brands, especially Western ones. So when other companies in China began to copy IKEA, they improvised by setting up stores on the outskirts of towns. They did this because at the time, a lot of Chinese citizens took public transportation, and the outskirts of town were all connected by rail and metro networks. The last question we have to answer for the discussion is IKEA customizes their furniture to each geographic location, but most companies do not make these changes. Why do you think IKEA does this, and has it been beneficial for them? So from the article that you posted to Blackboard from Forbes, I learned that IKEA has been diligent about keeping its overall atmosphere and business model consistent across countries while also adopting it to local tastes and cultures. So IKEA's simple, straightforward designs work almost everywhere, which you can see through the products that are consistent from market to market and across international borders. Global success of IKEA can be linked to its low-cost structure and operations, and its products are priced so low that everyone can afford them. So using this strategy, IKEA is able to maintain a sustainable business, and another success for IKEA is their adaptation to both local tastes and local cultures. So for example, IKEA's furniture in India is able to conquer heat and humidity, and they do this through adding risers to the bottom because many people clean their floor with water, and they also had to adjust their materials to match the climate in India. Lastly, in the US, IKEA stores adjust their furniture for US sizes. I think that IKEA adapts to local tastes and preferences while also maintaining low prices because it allows them to expand their market, increase their revenues, while also pleasing customers with a personal touch that matches their needs. Um, I think IKEA does this in general just because they're seen as a very personable brand